beautiful people, and welcome back to the Empower Her Business podcast. I'm your host, Lynette Cottrell, founder of Empower Her Bookkeeping and Advisory, where we guide women entrepreneurs from the energies of overwhelm and avoidance to confidence and relief around their business finances. Because my belief is simple, not one more woman should lose her business simply because she's intimidated by the numbers. My approach is what I call compassionate accounting, meeting women where they are, removing shame from the conversation around money, and helping them build businesses that can actually be sustainable and grow. And this podcast is an extension of that mission. Here on the Empower Her Business podcast, we have honest conversations about entrepreneurship, leadership, healing, visibility, wealth, and what it really takes to build a business without losing yourself in the process. So many Black entrepreneurs are talented, hardworking, visionaries, and deeply committed to their communities, yet still navigating barriers around access, opportunity, visibility, and so much more. So today's guest has dedicated a significant part of her life in leadership to changing that reality. I am honored to welcome Shaheewa Jarrett. Shaheewa serves as a General Counsel and Vice President of Compliance for Healthcare Advisory Organization, and she spent more than 17 years serving as a federal litigator with the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security. But beyond her incredible legal and professional background, she is also the founder of the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce, an organization created to advocate for Black businesses and help expand access, education, connection, and economic opportunity throughout our community. Under her leadership, the Chamber has grown to over 430 members and continues doing powerful work around advocacy, access to capital, supplier diversity, certification, and economic empowerment. She also serves in leadership roles across multiple advisory boards and initiatives throughout Broward County, focused on small business development, racial equality, and community advancement. Shaheewa, thank you so much for being here today. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Same here, Lynette. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So before all the leadership roles and accomplishments, who was young Shaheewa? What kind of girl were you?
I was a pretty shy girl, actually. Just always very observant, kind of kept to myself. Always had friends, social, but very reserved, I would say. Growing up, I don't think children really were encouraged to be very verbose or vocal, especially in public places. In school, I was very reserved. With my family, however, I think I felt free to be me. So I was that little girl who always asked about the family history and, what was going on. And my grandmother would always say, when I was growing up, we never had a chance to ask those questions. Not publicly shy, just very observant, reserved to myself. But then, around my family, you're in a place of love and in comfort. So I felt free to be, myself and ask those questions.
Got you. So you got into all those family stories, right? You got the history of things.
Yeah, I was just, for some reason, I was just very curious, about my grandmother's parents. I just wanted to know more about where we came from, who her mother was, who her father was. I don't know. I just felt, because grew up in such a loving family, close-knit family, gathering at my grandmother's house on Sundays, spent a lot of time with my aunts. It just kind of had this curiosity. So I wanted to know more about the folks that I didn't get to know that, had passed on before me. So I did get the goods. I got the good stories on, because I think, that family history and your family, they're the first to shape who you are. They're the first to
Mm.
pour into you, to let you know whether you can do things or you can't do things, to plant that seed. And so they make up who you are. And it was important for me to know that and understand that.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. So, what did you think at a young age? What did you think you would be when you grew up?
It's funny that you say that. So I always got these little comments like, you're so cute or you're so pretty and you should model and those types of things.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, at some age, I want to say 9 or 10, I just started thinking to myself, yeah, that could be cute, but you know, even at that age, I was thinking for longevity. And it's so
Mhm.
funny. I think one day I just kind of realized, well, look, while beauty will fade with time, being smart, being knowledgeable, won't. And so you'll have that longevity. And I also knew that because of some of my life experiences, I wanted to, make a difference, make an impact. I loved helping, and I was a Girl Scout, growing up as well. So, and, I went to church. So I kind of had that service mind, even younger, even if I didn't volunteer. Sometimes you got voluntold at church.
Uh-huh.
So I think to me, I wanted my life and whatever career I had to have meaning. And so in my household, and for me, I felt that folks valued, excellence. And so for me, it was like, well, I'll be a lawyer or a doctor. And for whatever reason, I settled on lawyer because I figured lawyers advocate for people. They speak up for those that need help and don't have a voice. And for some reason at that age, that attracted me, that
Mhm.
attracted me.
Remarkable, remarkable. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So clearly you're very accomplished, but I imagine in your journey it also required you to sacrifice some things. So were there seasons where you doubted yourself or you felt emotionally stressed?
Well, I will say this, because I grew up in the church, so at a young age, for me, having that belief, I felt like I had purpose to my life and that everybody had purpose. I think that's what going to church and having a belief in God did for me early on. Not to say I didn't question all those things when I got to college, just trying to figure out, how the atrocities of what we've been through as Black people,
Mhm. Mhm.
and asking God why. But very early on, I just understood that I had a purpose and that we were unique and we were special. And so I figured, I had, that purpose as well. So I think I just wanted to make sure that whatever I did kind of fell into that service area of service and helping folks. So um, I don't know. I just feel like I knew early on. I think, like I said, by age 11, I knew what I wanted to do.
Ah.
And at that age, I said to myself, "Well, what do I have to do to get to get the
Uh-huh.
to be a lawyer?" And it was like pretty much be active and get good grades. I didn't ask anybody. I didn't know any lawyers, but that's in my little 11-year-old mind. That's what
Mhm.
I thought. I got to get good grades, and I have to get be active, like be in clubs, have leadership positions, and so that's what I did. So I really felt as I went along in life that it really was laid out for me, and it was kind of easy, if you really want me to
Mhm.
be honest. I did really well in school. Um, in high school, I graduated with honors, top 8% of my class. I just had a love for knowledge. I wanted to do well. And I think I was grounded in that I understood that adulthood meant responsibilities. I saw
Yeah.
my folks working really hard to
Yeah.
pay the mortgage and take care of
Uh-huh.
the family. So I think for me, I was like, I'm going to enjoy every stage.
Mm.
I'm gonna get to be an adult someday, but I understood that meant that I'd have bills and other responsibilities that could weigh on me. So
Right.
I have to say, I enjoyed every stage. I enjoyed being a kid. I enjoyed being in high school. I went to all the things that my parents would allow me to go to. They were very
Uh-huh.
strict. They were very strict. But I say it came very easy to me. Went to college, graduated with honors again, and then I will say I took the LSAT to get into law school,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't get a high score, although I had really great grades.
Mhm.
Like I said, I graduated with honors, but obviously not everybody tests very well.
Mhm.
And I was upset when I got my score. My mom could see. upset.
Uh-huh.
And but she didn't travel the same road, so she didn't really quite understand what I was going through.
Uh-huh.
And I told myself, you have 30 minutes to be sad.
Mm.
Think about what we're going to do about it. A lot of folks I know were immediately applying to retake the test because you can get the average of
Uh-huh.
2 scores or how many times you took it. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I made a decision. I'm not going to do it. I have great grades. At that time, had to submit a personal statement. I said, I'm going to knock that out the park. I had leadership positions in college. I said, this test means nothing, right?
Mm.
I know who I am. And
Uh-huh.
so I applied and I got into every single law school that I applied to. And
Wow.
yeah, God was with me. I just felt like I was on the path, I was supposed to be on. So I think my life philosophy is if you're feeling a lot of friction,
Mm.
kind of been my experience in personal relationships, you feeling friction because you personally believe something
Uh-huh.
should click, you need to back off of it. Because
Mm.
that's not the path you're supposed to take. And that has guided me.
Mm.
God has laid out a path. I pray from the open doors. Help me understand your will so that I'm not going to, use my own will. Um,
Mm.
I understand where I'm supposed to go. So I will say that it has been an easy path as far as getting the education, etc. Now, when you get into these positions, yeah, you're going to be met with resistance.
Right.
Mm,
Right.
you are.
Well, that's so refreshing. I love hearing you share how you were present in the moment. Like most of us when we're growing up, I remember my kids, I can't wait till I get grown. I can't wait till I get an adult. But you saw way back then, okay, I don't need those
Yeah.
skills and that stress. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy where I'm at now. So that is so refreshing
Yeah.
to hear that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Then it's also sounding like you were very in tune with what your journey was, right? Where letting your steps be guided and
Yeah.
being in tune with feeling, okay, this feels right. So this is
Yeah.
where I'm going to go. And you had a great sense of confidence too. So,
Which
yeah.
I think just go kind of flows back to like I was saying when I was younger. And I thank God for this, just being able to have being an observer, being a researcher.
Yes.
So you're researching and being intentional
Mhm.
about what you're doing and laying it out. So you can tell
Mm.
I'm a planner. You can tell.
Right, right. Right. I've heard people say there are different ways to learn things. You can learn things from experiencing it yourself, but you can also learn from observing others.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Yeah.
times you can learn what not to do by seeing what the results or the experience that other people have. You
Yeah.
don't always have to just go through it. I'm just gonna try it anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely not. I always thought to myself, it's better to learn from others observing because why go through the disappointments and the heartaches and it's not going to
Mm,
work out anyway. So
mm,
we all have limited time, so we want to make the best use of our time.
that part right there, yes. So, Shaheewa, after years in the federal law and government, what made you realize that Broward County needed a Black Chamber of Commerce, specifically focused on advocacy and economic empowerment?
Heck of a question. So this was not on my radar at all. My life goal was to once again become an attorney. Like most attorneys, we're going to become judges, and
Uh-huh.
it's going to be good, and I'll sail out into the sunset. Um, but I somewhere along the line, like I said, I've always been very active in community. So even growing up, like I was a candy striper in high school. Like I said, I was in Girl Scouts. I went off to college and I volunteered registering folks to vote. And that didn't leave me. Even in law school, I did some things as well, raising funds for certain organizations, collecting donations, that type of thing. So once I graduated, I actually opened up my own small nonprofit focused on youth, young people,
Okay.
trying to help them we gave away college scholarships. We did a mentoring program for many years because my observations when I did an internship in the juvenile division in Broward County, I saw so many of our young people, kind of going through that process. And I thought to myself, how do we combat that? How do we reverse that? And it bothered me deeply to see that. Because once again, that said to me that our communities were starved of opportunities and our kids weren't seeing that in front of them and readily available. Kind of fast forward that to me graduating from law school. And just like I said, I started my own nonprofit. So I'm working with kids, having programs all over the county. And at some point I get married. So I get married, but I'd already been involved in an organization that was, because I work for the federal government, it had to be nonpartisan. So we just did a lot of voter education, a lot of education on issues. So the populations could be, educated on what they were voting on.
Right.
And I then put together a series of educational workshops, 45 in total across the county of Broward, on the ACA. And it took me to various parts of the county. Now, we all know that there are blighted areas in the county, but to see the depth and breadth, blight, the desperation, the lack of opportunity, just the rundown nature of some of the neighborhoods, to see adult men riding on, bicycles. And I'm thinking to myself, what are the kids seeing when they walk out their home? They're seeing that there's no opportunity for them. And that bothered me. That bothered me. And couple that with the fact that my husband, he got laid off from his job, which I knew. He was, corporate America. He's a very strong personality. So it's just a matter of time. He wasn't conforming to anybody's program there. So I knew he wanted to be an entrepreneur, and he approached me with that whole idea. And we had that discussion, and I saw him starting his company and the difficulties that he, went through to get opportunity. Although he had many years of experience, he had the expertise. And was a great communicator, did presentations, but just was not given the opportunity. So I coupled the two and said to myself, here we have our kids and adults, their parents and family members not having an opportunity, not having jobs, not having a chance to build businesses or launch ideas that can help them be productive and live with dignity and provide for their families. And here I am seeing the man I live with have a business. And was able to bring some clients, but you want that success. So you need more clients, and not being able to grow or being difficult simply because he was small and Black. And so for me, I coupled the two and did some research and found that at the time, 38% of Black children in Broward County were living in poverty. And that hurt my heart, Lynette. It hurt my heart. And to me, once again, that spelled lack of opportunity, lack of job creation, lack of an outlet for us to be creative in the ways that we, legally provide for ourselves. And I knew that we needed more than just a directory. We needed an organization that would be a liaison and an advocate with government entities to say, hey, we all spend our tax dollars. How are contracts being awarded? Is it with equity and fairness? We also needed to have an entity that did that with our corporations here. They had consumers that were diverse, because Broward County is a third Black, a third Hispanic, and a third white. So you have a diverse consumer base. How are you then spending your money with the folks that you contract with? And that, to me, as I did my research, because I had no desire to do anything business coming out of college or law school. So but just kind of was led this way. And in doing my research, it was like, well, that's a chamber. I can be an advocate. I can also educate folks with regard to how to get ready for these opportunities. I can also fill the information gap so that our folks will understand all of the opportunities that are available to them. And we can also advocate to create a wider net, more opportunities, so that we can truly have our seat at the table and build that generational wealth. And that really was, quite simply, that was the impetus for me creating the chamber, seeing that blight and that lack of opportunity for our kids, and seeing a Black man who was more than capable struggle. I started to hear about other folks struggling, Black businesses struggling, folks trying to take their contracts away. And I thought to myself, well, who's fighting with them?
Mm,
Standing by them. If you're a solopreneur, it's just you. And
right.
so you'll walk away. I don't have time. I have to work on my other clients. I don't want to get blackballed. There's a fear there. And I
Hmm.
said, no, we have to have an organization that will fight.
Mm.
And that was the birth of the Broward County Black Chamber.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's amazing. I love that you were inspired by seeing a lack of, and then
Yeah.
you decided, you know what? There's a solution to this, right? And there's a fully well-rounded solution to
Yeah.
this, right? And you decide to step up and put that in place. I really resonate with your story because it reminds me of my motivation for starting this podcast. Because as
Mhm.
a Black woman entrepreneur, I discovered that though Black women are the fastest growing sector of new small businesses,
Mhm.
only 3% of our businesses make it to 5 years and beyond, right? So that's
Mhm.
97% of our businesses that don't succeed.
Yeah.
So when I was struggling to get my business going and realizing, okay, I've gone to all the free programs, but what they say is going to work for me is not working,
Mhm.
that 97% statistic broke my heart. And I was like, so I'm not the only one feeling this.
Yeah.
So let me bring some real conversation and some real information so we know what this entrepreneur journey is really about, because it's not about what we see on social media, right? It's really a journey. So
Yeah.
I can definitely resonate with seeing an issue, having to touch your heart and saying, okay, I'm going to just step up, figure this out, and provide a solution. So
Mhm.
I thank you for that because you have created a very what I call is a community. I
Yeah,
see the Black Chamber as a community that
it
you
is.
very warm place. I feel so connected to the people when I go there, and it's just instantly you feel like
Yes.
we are so like-minded, right? We need those spaces where we're talking to like-minded people.
Hmm.
So you've done an incredible job, incredible job. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. That was the goal, creating a place where we could come together, grow together,
Mm,
business together.
yes.
In essence, a family, and we're over 560 members now, so we're growing, and I'm
Mm.
very, very proud of that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, what is something, Shaheewa, that you wish more Black entrepreneurs understood about the importance of certification,
Mm.
government contracting, and positioning themselves strategically?
Well, let me say this. In coming across a lot of entrepreneurs, this is what I would say. You cannot underestimate preparation and research.
Mm.
When you start your business, you want it to be, when people experience your business, when they see how you put everything together, you want them to think, wow, this is excellence, excellence personified.
Mhm.
A lot of times it's, what I'm finding and asking entrepreneurs questions, it's kind of like, well, I can cook, people say I got these great cookies or I got these great pies. So I figured, why not start selling at church? And now I have a business.
Mhm.
Now, while you may bake very well and people may love the taste, taking that from kind of a side hustle or a thing you do at church to a business is a completely different story.
Yes,
And so you
ma'am.
have to understand what it means to be a business. You have to
Mm.
separate the back house, the administrative portion of what it means to run a business versus working in the business.
Mm.
That's where I find a lot of our entrepreneurs don't understand that there has to be a process on both sides in order for folks to experience your business in a positive light. Because if you have the best tasting pies, but it's hard to get to you, hard to order, my order's not coming in on time, it's not packaged properly, if I have something wrong, I can't get it back to you, then they haven't had a great experience, so they're not coming back, and your business is not going to survive. So that's why I say for folks to do the research to ensure that they truly understand what it means to run a business administratively, what it means, and that means, just to give an example, having a strategic plan for your business. So do that business canvas model, that one pager, do that. Because if there are 100 pie makers in your area, what are we really doing?
Right.
How, and if you think, hey, I got what it takes, I'm about to
Uh-huh.
do it here. Right, fine. Well, then how are you going to now we get to the next one. Besides a strategic plan, the
Uh-huh.
marketing plan, how are you now going to market your business as unique and special so it sets you
Mm-hmm.
apart from the 100 other pie makers that are out there? And
Uh-huh.
that sometimes means also diversifying, right? So it's not just the individual customer that's going to come through. And it's not just the, say B2B, right? You
Uh-huh.
find a company that every now and again may do a luncheon or a
Mm-hmm.
holiday celebration and you're able to provide for them. But it also means diversifying through government contracting as well. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why we emphasize it so much for folks to see that full picture, the full spectrum of where your income can come from, where
Mm-hmm.
that revenue can flow through. So that's first. And I think if you're doing the research, you'll and doing that strategic plan, it forces you to think about who your customer is going to be, where they are, the opportunities that you have in the market and the gaps you have to fill, but also competition. So it helps refine what you're going to do and think about it at a different level. And then once you have those fundamentals in place, your strategic plan, your marketing plan, where to find people, how to market to them. And then you've refined how folks experience your business from their very first contact with you, whether it be through social media or your website.
Uh-huh.
You have proper response times, you have proper communication, with your clients as they go through your customer journey with your business.
Uh-huh.
So then it's like, where can I find more clients? How do I grow? And that's what we say
Mm-hmm.
to folks once you have those fundamentals in place, you may be ready for government contracting because governments are the biggest spender in any ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of our folks don't understand that the government can be your client, whether it be the county government or one of our 31 municipalities here in Broward County. That's a lot of opportunity, 31
Yeah.
municipalities. And then you cannot forget about some of the quasi-government institutions here, like a Broward Health, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
a Broward College. And so I emphasize the certifications because that can bring you additional opportunities, I would say, in two different ways. So, one, obviously, the immediate way you sign up to become a vendor. If they have certifications where you can qualify for certain unbundled contracts or sheltered markets, then you definitely want to do that because that will allow you to only compete with small businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not every business. Because given economies of scale, the big business will most likely beat you out every time, although they're not perfect. And I
Mm-hmm.
like to remind our folks of that. Don't talk about my small businesses when the big ones aren't perfect either.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
has had a bad experience at Walmart, so let's not
All
act like they're
right.
always good.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I want folks to understand they have that direct experience with government and getting certified. And if you provide a specific product or service, then it's just a matter of a request for proposal or even a request for a quote coming out and you being prepped to be able to respond that and having your templates ready to respond professionally. And
Mm.
then there's a secondary opportunity from that. And that's another reason why I push the certifications, because there are folks that are larger companies that want to work with subs and smaller businesses. And they look to these lists, these certification lists, because those companies have been vetted, right? They know that if you're on that list, someone has gone, you've submitted financial statements.
Mhm.
They know that you have submitted your business tax receipts. They know that you're, licensed through the state. If you need something on a state level, they know that you're registered with Sunbiz, in Florida. So they
Mhm.
know that you have, and even for some of these local certifications, there's a site visit. So they know that someone's actually been to your physical site and they know that you exist in
Mhm.
functioning business. And they also usually have time requirements. So they know that you've been in business for at least a year or more.
Mhm.
So they scour those lists. And so we've had, even for our own business, folks call us, hey, we're going to put in for RFP, a proposal for something that's out with this particular entity. Can we add you to the team? And you negotiate your terms, you're added to the team. And if they win, you didn't even put in,
Mhm.
the RFP, you'll provide a specific service or product for them and you'll get paid. So that's why I emphasize those opportunities as well. And
Mhm.
government buys pretty much everything.
Everything. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So you just broke down, I think, a master class on setting the foundation of your business, the
Yeah,
things you should be considering when
absolutely.
you're getting started in business. I have seen a lot of how to get started, different platforms and workshops, but
Hmm.
what you just broke down was very key and very powerful. So I hope our audience will go back and listen to that again and just take notes on everything she cited and see how does your business stand up against the different elements that she listed for you? Because that was really a masterclass right there.
Hmm.
And then the awareness that government contracting can be a way you diversify, right?
Absolutely.
Diversify your clientele. And especially when we're talking about when you look at your business cycle, if you have slow periods in your business and you're like, how do I make money in here? That
Hmm.
diversification can fill up that hole for you, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I also appreciate you explaining about the benefits of certification. Like when someone looks at you on a list of you've already been certified, they know that all this background work has already been done on you. They don't
Ab-
have to do it to get that certification. Someone has already done that. So that says that you have a lot of things already in place. You
mhm.
know what your financials are because you had to submit those, right?
Exactly.
You paid for your business license because you had to be licensed,
Yeah.
right? To start your business. You have all your right numbers and your business bank account, and they went through your history and they vetted you. So that helps you too. So if you're thinking about, I'm not prepared to be certified, find out what the process takes
Exactly.
and then put those things in place, right?
Hmm.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
Over time, when you look at the difference between starting now and where you can be the beginning of next year, right? You could
Absolutely.
be completely certified, but you have
Mhm.
to get started. So, very key, very key. I love that.
Absolutely.
So, you've worked closely with the public and the private sector leadership. What changes have you seen in the conversations around racial equality, supplier diversification over the last couple of years?
Lynette, it has been a roller coaster, I will say, to start it off. Because when I first started the chamber, we were very focused, once again, like I said, on educating. So we did a lot of workshops. Had a whole Get Certified series, and we
Yeah.
still do that. We do a Doing Business With series as well. But, and we have now have a government contracting cohorts that we do to kind of really be hands-on and prepare folks for opportunities.
Mm,
And we were fully focused on how do we expand those opportunities that we're preparing folks for. So yes, sheltering markets and unbundling contracts, which simply means if you have a $220 million contract, a small business is not going to get bonding to do that. So we
right.
advocate to break that down to $1 million, $5 million, $9 million, so our folks can actually bid and win those contracts and have the capacity to complete them.
Mhm.
But we also advocated for disparity studies so that an entity that receives public dollars, so they're
Mm,
receiving dollars from brown people like me and you,
mhm.
they would then have to study how those public dollars were being spent. Are you taking money from everybody, including the brown people, and just redistributing those funds to people who don't look like us, right? So
Mm,
you're building wealth outside of our communities because you're
right.
taking those tax dollars but spending it pretty much completely somewhere else.
Mm,
And so we pushed for that. And I will say the school board of Broward County completed a disparity study, and therefore they were able to have a program in place where they could look at what's the Black spend, what's the women-owned business spend, etc., to
mhm.
see if it was commiserate, if there was a disparity, if
Mm,
they were
yeah.
underspending given the presence of those types of businesses in their on their vendor list, um,
Mm,
and the folks that were bidding. So that's where we kind of started our advocacy, Lynette, to be honest,
uh-huh.
to say if you're looking and you care, then you'll track, right? So there
Mm,
won't be a disparity. And we are a minority, so there's never going to be 100% spend, and that's not what we want. But we want there to be equity and fairness in the spending, given
mm,
our presence in the market. Since then,
mhm,
um, as we know,
mhm,
there have been several laws that have been passed, and there's been a lot of pushback. Florida has been in the news heavily because of the priorities of our current governor in ensuring that there are no programs that seek to rectify past and current disparities and discrimination.
Mm.
Even though our Supreme Court and past decisions have said, yes, there is discrimination, it's kind of like, yeah, there's discrimination, but we're done with those programs. I mean, literally, that's kind of where we are. We acknowledge there's discrimination. We know what's going on. We know you guys aren't getting, but you know what? The program should have worked faster because right now we're not going to enforce any of it. And that's really where we are. So you see it on a federal level with the 8A certification program. You see it also on the federal level with the MBDA, pretty much all the employees sent home. So we no longer have a minority business development agency at the national level. We still have a DBE, a disadvantaged business enterprise program on a federal level, and an ACDBE, which is the concessions designation. So if you want to work in the airport.
Okay.
We still have it, but that has been changed so that there can't be a necessarily built-in racial preference. So we all know, because there were laws on the books, right?
Right.
That discriminated against Black folks from reading, getting certain jobs, getting certain contracts. But now it's been changed to say, well, no, we're not going to assume that. There are new rules. So you have to write a narrative and go through a whole process. So in that, they're literally going through a recertification of the DBE and the ACDBE, which goes to some huge contracts. So think of like the construction, Department of Transportation, like huge contracts.
Right.
Folks are going to have to go through that all over again. And once again, there's no preference for folks who have historically been disadvantaged. You have to kind of do that. So as I understood in talking with someone who helps to administer the program locally, Georgia had 2,000 DBEs. Now they have 200.
Ooh.
Florida is currently going through that process with no real support, obviously, once again, out of Tallahassee because of the priorities of this administration and governor. But our county is going forward and they are reprocessing and recertifying the DBE. So if anybody is in Broward County and hears this, do it. If you're in the state of Florida, there are about 5 other certification areas around the state. If you think of the large metropolitan areas, our businesses need to be reaching out to them. They should be recertifying as well. So, on a federal level, there's a push to get folks recertified and back on the list because there now is a mechanism when we had, quite honestly, Lynette, been in limbo for about a year or so. Statewide, there was a law that was just, there was a law that was just signed, a bill that was just signed into law. In essence, it's been dubbed the anti-DEI bill because it impacts employment at government agencies. It impacts government contracting, even holidays that cities can celebrate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, I'm not going to say that this is an easy time. This is going to be a time for us to really buckle down, read what the laws are, understand what can be legally done, because I'd be lying to you if I said there wasn't a backlash. For some reason, there's this misunderstanding as if Black people have gotten a windfall of things falling from the sky.
Right.
We're all rich. We're living.
Right.
We're getting government money and we're splurging. And let me tell you, Lynette, that has never been the case. This has been open for almost, 9 years, going on 10 years. And I see our folks push through year after year, struggle. Some years, you're doing well, some years not so much, but they work hard every single day to run their businesses, hire people in the community and provide jobs and provide for their families, send their kids off to school, and give back and somehow manage to give something back.
Yes.
Community. So there's no big party going on over here.
Right.
But I'd be lying. Like I said, we just had a meeting today, actually, at the chamber. I had a check-in call and we talked about some of the different ways that things are going to have to get done so that there's still opportunity for local businesses. But I'm telling our members, this is not a time to back away. It's not a time to be silent. This is not a time to take your foot off the gas.
Mm.
Despite what is happening, there is opportunity. You are still a business. You still provide a service or a product. And, where there's a need, where there's a gap, you can fill it. So push. And I'm seeing our businesses continue to push. And some are still doing well. I was asking how people were doing as a check-in. So I would say, drop in the chat, how you doing? How was Q1? We're in Q2, where's it going? And one of our attorneys was like, whoo, I never had a better quarter. You see what I'm saying? Other folks are saying, looking for opportunities to grow. Still, some doors are getting open. We'll see. So my point is, not that we ever do, don't give up on you. Don't give up on your business. This is a tough time, but it is temporary. We'll continue to push forward. And as a chamber, we're going to be innovative in the ways that we continue to show up for our members. Not saying it's easy, but we are pushing forward.
Right. I love that. Great information. I love that you shared some numbers there. Those Georgia numbers, that it went from 100% to 10%, right?
Yeah, down. Yeah. And so what we're trying to do is push, our area, because we have so many projects up, because of our surtax. It's a penny surtax that we passed in 2018. So there are a lot of projects, not just on a county level, but a city level, because they get to tap into those dollars. And if you are a county SBE or CBE or county business enterprises, you get to participate on those city projects too and bid and have a preference there. So we're pushing folks to continue to do that. So there's opportunity. So our folks are like, get recertified. So we're getting that message out in the other areas across the state, because, a lot of our companies don't just do business in South Florida. They go out to Orlando or Tampa or Jacksonville. We're trying to kind of encourage those folks to start to, do what Broward County is doing. Let's get that process going where you're recertifying so we don't look like Georgia.
Right. Oh, wow. Yes. Very important, very important. So as you're sharing all this information, all I am thinking is, wow, we need more businesses to be a part of the chamber, right? We need more businesses to be aware of these things that are going on and to be impactful and making a difference.
Yeah.
So what would you say to businesses out there that are not part of any chamber, but they've been in business, let's say 4 or 5 or more years? What would you say to that business owner why they should become more involved in the chamber?
Well, I say, first of all, even though you may not be a formal member, you're getting the benefits of the chamber's existence, because our advocacy covers everyone. So I'll give you a quick example. One of our members was going after a license on a county level, and I found some problems with the program and the reasoning for which she was denied, and brought that attention to it, county staff, as well as our county commissioners. We are now going to get a new small business program for that license. They never had one. We're creating an entirely new category. So it's not just my chamber members who will benefit, but anyone who is going to be defined as a small business can now fall into this category and be able to grow their business through this new category. So you've already been benefiting. Why not pay into and invest in an organization that's going to advocate for greater opportunities for you and other businesses in the ecosystem? Because quite frankly, when other businesses are doing well in the ecosystem, your businesses do better as well. Because if they're doing well, they have more money to spend, they can do more B2B, they're hiring more people. That's a bustling economy that every business can do well in. And that's what we have to start thinking about. How can we benefit everybody? And that's one way. Our advocacy at the chamber benefits everybody. So you should invest in our existence. 2, don't go it alone. Being in business can be especially as a solopreneur, which the vast majority of our businesses are, like one person working the cash register and running back and making the pies and coming back and
just changing the hat and doing the other stuff.
Let me get on this Excel and get that doing everything. And so my thing is, it can be tiring, it can beat you down. So come be a part of a network and a family and folks that want to see you succeed. As another example, we have our little mini referral groups, and we'll be starting one up in Central Broward. We have one in Miramar, just kind of started to meet up in Fort Lauderdale, gonna do one in Central. But in our Miramar one, there were maybe 8 or 9 people sitting around the table. We had over 25 referrals.
Mm.
25 referrals. So this is
Wow.
real time, working with each other, referring business to each other.
Right.
And that's fueling folks' business. So then you're not alone. You also have a group of folks that understand what you're going through. And sometimes we start our meetings with just having some real conversation, being able to blow off steam. Because
Yeah.
once again, being in business can be very isolating. So you gain a family and a referral network when you join the chamber, besides the advocacy. In addition to that,
Right.
when you're just running around,
Mm-hmm.
you can't keep up with all the different trends and things you need to know, all the
Mm-hmm.
new opportunities, all the changes in law, that type of thing. So you have the chamber here to do that for you with our educational and business development programs. Like I said, we have a business basics program, we had a tax talks program, we have a government contracting cohort. Every year we do a strategic marketing plan sessions as well as HR. Which a lot of people forget when they're hiring people. We want to keep people out of trouble. We do that too. So there's always something educational you can learn so that you can become a better business owner, so that your business is stronger. And that's what we like to say here. In addition to that, we go after funds so that we can provide one-on-one consultations in certain areas that our members may need help. So you can get that fortification. We had a member recently reach out to me that's been in business for 20 years. And she's like, I don't have a plan and I'm kind of lost right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I set her up with one of the folks we work with. And now she has a strategic plan. She couldn't be happier. She's like, I know what to do now. I
Yeah.
know what to do. She's like, I was just lost. I didn't really know where to start. And so now she has a plan. And so my point is, we also, provide the workshops, but also can provide those one-on-ones so that once again, you're becoming a better business owner. And so your business is stronger. And then lastly, I'll say it's about the visibility as well. We like to highlight our members. So we're kind of like that other marketing arm, if you will. We do a business
Yes.
spotlight for you all. You're on a directory if you're a member, where folks can go to our directory online and look up a specific service by industry or by city if they're looking for
Mm-hmm.
that. And we also when we're liaising with government agencies, we hand over our list and say, hey, what are you looking for? What type of businesses are you looking to work for? And we give our list to those agencies and they do reach out. Lastly, I'll say we also connect our members, talking about visibility, with decision makers. So if you're really interested in that government contracting space, the director of procurement is not picking up the phone for one's business,
Right.
right?
Right.
City manager ain't picking up the phone, whatever. But when you come through the chamber, or we're having an event with that particular city, or you need to meet with a specific elected official, we set up those meetings for our members. So it's getting you that extra visibility to get what you need to get done and get your goals met. That's important. But mostly, I think it goes back to Lynette, to what you said, is creating that hub and that home for you to come to where you feel welcome and you can get your needs met. And feel like you have other folks in there who can commiserate with you, and give you that extra inspiration, can partner with you on certain things if you need that, and get the education and the connections that you need. That's what we are as a chamber, and why folks should join.
Awesome. That's beautiful. So it sounds like the chamber is a very powerful business partner that you didn't know you needed, right?
There
You
you
didn't
go.
know it was available. It's available and you need it, especially us solopreneurs. Like you said, we're wearing all the hats, doing
Woo!
everything. There's not enough time in the day for us to keep
Woo!
up with everything
Yeah.
or to fight for everything that we need, right? So
Right.
the chamber is doing that fight. So it only makes sense to connect and to invest in the
Yes,
chamber. So
absolutely.
beautiful, beautiful work. So tell us a little bit about any upcoming events you have going on for the chamber. I know you have some wonderful events. I've been to your events, enjoyed every single one I've ever been to. So
Yeah.
what's coming up next?
Well, we have a few events coming up. Just trying to make sure we're keeping our folks abreast and aware of opportunities and broadening their scope.
Mm,
So we have a doing business with hotels coming up. That's a virtual event on May 27th. Everything is on our website or on our Eventbrite. So you can learn how to do business with either the hotels directly, the GMs, or with the buyers and purchasers that work with the hotels.
Okay.
We do that in conjunction with a partner of ours where we get to go to their hotel conference for free in Miami. We do a matchmaking session, so we want to prepare folks. So we have a doing business with hotels on May 27th coming up. After that, we're fully focused on this year, allowing folks to understand that the market outside of the United States is actually bigger than the market inside. So you may actually have a product or service that another country or folks in another country may want access to. So for years, I wanted to do a trade mission. This year, I said, I don't care if I take 5 people. We are going. We're kicking it off, and we're doing it. And we're going to do it easily and affordably. On June 18th and the 19th, we're going to embark on a trade mission to the Bahamas. It's English speaking. It's not far. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to learn how you can do business with other businesses in the Bahamas, B2B. We're going to have meetings with government. So you'll learn how to do business with the government as well as in the private sector. So I think that will be a worthwhile trip. Once again, that's June 18th and the 19th. It'll be our first trade mission, not with just our chamber, but with chambers around the state to go to the Bahamas. We also have on July 9th, a town hall, an election town hall, and a meet and greet. Once again, talking about connecting our folks to our elected officials. So on July 9th, you'll have an opportunity to meet your local elected officials. We'll have a reception, but we'll also have a couple of panel discussions on some of the laws that have changed that will have impacted our small businesses that passed just this session. Which should end at the end of June, hopefully. And then lastly, we have our Business Expo that we do every year during National Black Business Month in August. This year will be on August 20th at Lauderhill Performing Arts Center. We'll be there again. Great expo. We invite everybody out to come and partake of, and support Black businesses. We'll also have a procurement panel. So it should be fun.
Oh, wonderful. Some amazing events you have going on and coming up for the Black Chamber. That's awesome. So I hope you guys take notes. We'll also give you in the show notes contact information so you can visit the website and go to the calendar and get all those great events. So Shaheewa, what legacy do you hope that the Broward County Black Chamber leaves behind?
That's a weighty question. Folks ask about legacy. So I feel about I'm so young. At the end of the day, the goal and the legacy that we're trying to leave behind is to grow not only our businesses, but to economically develop our communities so that they're stronger, they're economically viable, they're robust, and full of opportunity, not just for the folks who are here currently, but for our children. That there's so much abundance and opportunity and growth for us. And it's not out of reach. We had our Black Wall Streets.
Yes.
We can have them again, but it's so robust that even our children and our children's children will be able to continue to work in that economy, to build it up, and to be the innovators and business owners and leaders that we know they are. So it's really to leave that legacy of that strong foundation so that economic legacy, that cultural legacy will live on from generation to generation.
Got it. That's beautiful.
People to thrive.
Yes. Yes, I can feel that energy coming from your heart when you were speaking about that. I could just see that vision. That's beautiful. Yeah. To continue on after we're gone.
Yes.
We have built something so strong that it just keeps flourishing and growing and growing.
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. So as we wrap up, I appreciate all the great gems you dropped today for our audience. I hope they go back and replay this and take some notes and not just listen and not just take notes, but put things in action, right?
Absolutely.
So we're all about results, not just listening to it and feeling good, but what are you going to do after this? And I think the greatest way they can honor someone like you who's putting so much into, pouring so much into the success of our businesses is to utilize all the resources you're making available, all the events you're pulling together, because it takes a lot to pull these events together, right? It's not a simple process. So all the people you're getting together and you're bringing to one place for us, we have to show up and make it worth the time, right? Worth the effort. So thank you so much for that. And as we close out, I always love to ask my guests three fun questions so we get to know the person behind what they're doing. So for you, my first question is, if you could spend the day with anyone from any time in history.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
Just hang out with them, go out to dinner, just have conversations. Who would you choose and why?
Just one.
Just one. Just one.
Just one. That's so hard. But I'm gonna go with one of my favorites.
Okay.
Although that's very hard because I got a lot of people I admire, as you can see on my wall.
Yes, I love your wall.
But I would say Harriet Tubman. She was a bad mama jam. For her to escape after all the things she had gone through and to come back.
Yes.
Time
after
time again.
Yeah.
In the belly of the beast.
Yes.
To say to her people, because I understand people were afraid. I get it. To say, you better move. I got this shotgun to your back. You are going back. You are moving forward. We are going to be free. The determination, the power.
Yes.
The sheer guts.
Yes.
And then to be a spy during the Civil War.
Right.
And then for her to still not stop. She got married and had a house and, invited folks in there so folks would have a place to grow old in and be taken care of. She just dedicated her life to service. I would love to have that conversation. Because the times you're in, Lynette, they were in, it was to beat them down and subdue them, and to let the spirit stand up inside of her to say, no, I will not be subdued. And not only will I escape, but I will free others. Get harried all day.
I think that would be a very powerful conversation.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, your next question. So with all of this work you're doing for us and our businesses and the community and the dreams and the visions, what do you do for your self-care?
It's so funny. Over the years, I've said to myself, I had to make time because I found myself very frazzled at the end of some years. And I said, okay, I did something wrong. You always said, oh, I'm going to pause and never got a chance to. So this is what I do now. I do strength training twice a week. I lift weights. And I hit a punching bag, Lynette. So my strength trainer is a former boxer. So we start every session with boxing. I'm lifting weights, and I tell you that, aside from just making you stronger, but it really, I feel good. I feel pumped, relieved, pumped after that, and that's been really good because, we're never me, in the line of work I do, I realize that I'm never going to get rid of the stress, right? I have to manage it. And so I found that's been extremely helpful. And then I work in days where I can, get a massage or something like that. And then I do make sure that when I go away, my family, they'll come. So we'll kind of make it a family thing. So we'll kind of get the business out of the way. And then we make sure we do something fun. We'll sing. So for instance, I had to speak one time in Orlando at a conference for state elected officials. I did that. And then we went to Legoland. We went to Disney with my son and everything. So, just completely silly and fun. And so I figured, we work those in throughout the year so that there really is a break.
Right.
The pressure and the madness.
Right. I love that, love that, love that. Beautiful. And the final question for you, Shaheewa. What was your favorite childhood game?
What's so funny? And all my family knows it, which is hilarious. But I have a runner-up, but I'm gonna tell you my favorite.
Okay.
Because we got this one first. For someone who ran away from business, I actually minored in finance as a
Ah.
backup, because I knew I wanted to go to law school. I was like, in case, I'll do finance, but I wanted nothing to do with business. But Monopoly was my favorite game.
Wow.
Crushed everybody. I'm crushing everybody. As a kid, I'm crushing my parents, everybody, anybody who
Wow.
played. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yep.
Amazing. Now, what's the runner-up? I'm curious.
Scrabble. We played Scrabble.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah,
okay. Nice. I love Scrabble too.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, Shaheewa, thank you again for sharing your wisdom, your leadership, and your heart with us today. One of the things I appreciate most about this conversation is that it reminds us that building successful business is not only about strategy, it's also about access, advocacy, community, visibility, and creating environments where people truly have
Yeah.
the opportunity to thrive. And I think so many women listening today will walk away feeling both seen and empowered by your perspective.
Oh, thank you.
So, to everyone listening, please take a moment to support the Broward County Black Chamber of Commerce, connect with Shaheewa, and continue supporting organizations that are actively creating pathways for Black businesses to grow and prosper. Again, we're going to put all the connection details in the show notes so it's very easy for you to click and connect. Thank you for joining us here on the Empower Her Business podcast. And as always, I wish you the very best of joy, health, and wealth. Until next time, be well. You've been listening to the Empower Her Business podcast. And before you go, I want to thank you for being here. If this episode supported you, please pay it forward. You can do that by hitting the follow button, rating us 5 stars, leaving a comment, and sharing us with others. This is how we ensure the podcast reaches more sisters in business. Until next time, I wish you the very best of joy, health, and wealth. Be well.